So I can turn the camera on.
Good evening and welcome to our three sets of meetings tonight. Our first meeting will be the Committee of Adjustment meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Note that all members of council are present, and I would also like to check who may be present on telephone.
Oh, can you just bear with us, Mr. Mayor, because we didn't dial in.
Sorry, we're going to dial in.
Yes, my apologies. The phone isn't working.
For the other meeting, we could just check on attendance at the time of that meeting.
That's correct. I don't have a dial tone. And it's fully charged. I'm just gonna read this up. We will be one moment.
I'll just check who's present on the phone. Mr. Scott, are you with us tonight? Okay. Staff, Alex?
I'm here.
Thank you. Dan?
I'm here.
Thank you. Manuela?
I'm here.
Thank you. These two may or may not. Anders? And Kevin? I think Kevin's on holidays. Okay. So thank you. Those are the people present, and we're going to begin with the Committee of Adjustment. We have a resolution to approve the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 16, 2021 be approved.
All in favor? It's carried. Did you need speaker system, Kathy? Are you gonna use one?
Can't hear me?
Well, I don't know. I have no problem in here. I'm just wondering if people listening in on the phone, they're okay, then that's fine.
Can you hear me on the telephone speaking, or am I speaking too low?
You're okay, Kathy.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine then. Thank you. Announcements, declarations of pecuniary interests, being none. Approval of the minutes from the Tuesday, August 11th, 2020 meeting.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the following minutes of the Municipality of Walla Committee of Adjustment be adopted as presented. Minutes of a Committee of Adjustment meeting held on Tuesday, August 11, 2020, as contained on pages 1 to 3, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried, thank you. Nothing under old business, new business. 7.1, approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the Municipality of Walla Committee of Adjustment does hereby approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer with respect to the notification of the following applicant. B1/21, Mr. Dale Scott, for consent under Section 53 of the Planning Act for an easement located behind 12 Laurier Street, Plan M27, Lot 90, parcels 2867, 3277, 3399, 3977, to allow for parking accessible via 9 Mackey Street, located in the Municipality of Wawa, District of Algoma.
Are there any questions, clarifications? Kathy, I know Kevin's on holidays. Did you want to just briefly speak to the legal non-conforming aspect of?
So, Mr. Mayor, this motion just addresses the notification
Okay.
to the
Sorry,
property
so
owners
that's
within
fine.
the vicinity.
Okay. We'll have, I'll call
Thank
the
you.
question on favor. It's carried. 7.2, the consent application. That's one we're going to talk about this.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Chasson. Resolved that application number B1/21, submitted by Mr. Dale Scott for consent for an easement located behind 12 Laurier Street to allow for parking accessible via 9 Mackey Street, be and is hereby granted for the following reason. No objections were received. So, just for council's information, this property located at 12 Laurier is deemed as legal non-conforming. At the time of its construction, it was legal in accordance with the bylaw of the day. With the new adoption of our current bylaw, it's now considered legal non-conforming, meaning any changes going forward to that specific property would have to conform with our current bylaw, but it is still legal because it was legal at the time of construction.
Okay, so that's the main reason why we can continue with approving this request. It's like there are properties in the municipality that are built too close to the property line. But they would be legal non-conforming because they were built at the time when it was allowed to be done. If you took that building down and wanted to build something on that property, you would have to then conform to the
Current zoning bylaw, that's correct.
Current zoning bylaw, so.
Do you want to come in from Laurier Street to the back of his property?
So he wants to access his property from Mackey Street. So that would be beside the former Union Hall, and then access along the side of the building through to 12 Laurier.
Remember a little
So the
lane
back
we built one time when Sears was there, they would do deliveries and pickups back there, so just running along there to the back of the property at 12 Laurier.
And that's what the everyday floors is using the same property to get from the back.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so are we creating a roadway?
No, it's an easement just to allow access across the line.
So what kind of traffic, vehicle traffic is going to be going to, I guess that'd be 12 Laurier Street, right?
Just the tenants.
Just the tenants for parking.
Yes.
Now, does the easement allow the flooring company also that park there, or is like, are they both combined on that easement, or is it just one?
The flooring will have one parking, and then there's also the parking on the street or off-street parking. And I believe they have property on the other side as well.
They do, yeah. I
for
see,
parking.
I see it's all been used.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. It's carried. We just need a motion to adjourn. From
Yes.
one individual.
Moved by Councillor Chason, resolved that this meeting adjourn at 6:41 p.m.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. So we'll now move to corporate. I'll call the corporate planning meeting to order at 6:41. Note that all members of council are present. And we still have Alex, Dan, and Manuela on the phone. Has anyone from Confederation College called in yet?
We have Mr. Cook on the line.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Cook. So I'll go to item 2, disclosure of pecuniary interests. Seeing none, approval of the agenda. I need a motion. Mitch, will you move that? Move by Mitch to approve the agenda. All in favor? It's carried. So now we are going to turn over the computer to Mr. Cook for his presentation. You put the screen down, and the three of us up here will go join the others down below.
So, I'm just going to have Sue just check my screen to make sure it's okay. I have them unmuted. And, so you'll need to share your screen. You need to do that?
Do you want me to start sharing? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, you can go ahead and share your screen now.
Okay. Did it come up?
Yes, it did.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you very much for inviting me tonight, and good evening to everyone. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your council proceedings to give us the opportunity to give you an update on what's going on at Confederation College, and specifically our new strategic plan. Ka'eno Kataken is the name of the plan, which means carrying the load. And we have been spending the last year preparing this plan. So we'll give you a bit of an overview on what's happening in the college right now, and then I'll move into the plan and go through it. And at the end, I'll save some time for questioning. I hope not to take any more than maybe 15 or 20 minutes of your time, and appreciate any feedback we get from you as we conclude. So just a little bit of data as in our pre-COVID world, we had over 7,700 full and part-time students, over 1,100 Indigenous students, and 1,700 plus international students studying over 58 programs in our college catalog. And part of our COVID recovery will be attracting international students back to achieve a 40% international enrollment level, as well as growing our Indigenous population for student enrollment. And we are very pleased right now with the domestic enrollment we had this year. It was pleasantly surprising to see where we went, given the situation that we were in COVID. So in 2019, 2020, we knew that we've been providing education across Northwestern Ontario for over 50 years. And many of you and your staff are alumni, and we plan on focusing on a greater level of engagement for our alumni across the region. And this is a big portion of our strategic plan. They are ambassadors to our college, and we constantly engage with them, and they've been very helpful and instrumental in us continuing to be successful and meeting the needs of the local regions and the various sectors that we provide student employment to. We've had a significant impact on the economy in Northwestern Ontario, and with over $643 million. And we'll be updating this figure this academic year to give a more relevant number based on the fact of what we've done in 1920 and then again in 2021. So as you can see, our key performance indicators are strong. With 87% of our graduates satisfied and 88% are employed, employment rate of our graduates. So these are from our 17-18 graduation stats. We're always a year and a half to 2 years in arrears, depending on how they're put forward through the Ipsos Reid Public Perception Survey that was generated in 2016. So I don't need to explain to you the size of our region. You know, from Wawa all the way to the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border, we have 9 campuses. We service and support over 88 First Nation communities in our catchment area, and we cover over 550,000 square kilometers. It's a massive undertaking for us to administer the programming throughout the region, and we fully intend on trying to continue to meet the needs of the growing populations that we have throughout the region. We have a significant impact on providing human capital to support regional services, such as the LTC, protective services, community services, infrastructure services, just to name a few. And we have a large number of staff from various sectors across the region that sit on our program advisory committees and give us guidance. And we thank you for that contribution. It's instrumental in our success, and we look forward to many, many more years of that involvement. They keep our programs current and relevant, and it allows us to meet the needs of the region and further economic prosperity for our regions. Now on to our strategic plan. I have a brief video here that I'll start up and play for you. And if you have any problems hearing it, please let me know.
In Federation College, we inspire students to succeed.
We enrich lives through learning. How? We live our 3 values: courage, equity, and relationships.
What does that look like? Our strategic plan. Building on past successes, is the catalyst for the work that is now carried. This work is grounded in 4 strategic pillars.
Through our commitment to access and success, we create a positive, supportive environment that attracts students and meets their educational objectives. Vision of Indigenous learning. We aspire to be a leader in Indigenous learning in Canada.
Our dedication to institutional excellence, we are recognized as an excellent and progressive organization. Our focus on community prosperity, we enrich the quality of life, prosperity, and sustainability of diverse communities.
Join us on our journey to 2025 with Ka Anokai.
I hope you were able to hear that okay.
It was breaking up a bit.
No, sorry about that. Gotta love technology. So I hope you enjoyed the video and got the context of what's behind it. I did send a copy so that you can see that on your own at any given time. It is on the YouTube channel and it's quite easy to access. And I think you already have the link, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. So I'll go through some of the items that we've seen in the video. Our mission and vision have not changed substantially, but we have added the Nagano vision statement to the strategic plan. That is something that our board has taken to heart, that they want to put a bigger emphasis, which is why we went from 3 to 4 pillars in this new strategic plan for 2020-2025. They felt it was important that we start to represent a greater and broader audience that reflects what our students are and will be in the future. So the Nagano Circle is a group of Indigenous educators and others who created this vision to guide us in our work. Their vision is integral to this, and it will be part of our strategic plan moving forward. It states that the revitalization of this vision through our work together on reconciliation, renewed relationships with Indigenous peoples will allow us to be partners in the change in education. And we know that there will be change in education moving forward. So the 4 pillars that we've seen in the strategic plan are pillars that will connect our community and our region in many various ways. Our staff and students provide tremendous support to so many community organizations and businesses. They're involved in fundraising and volunteerism, applied learning and placements in co-ops, part-time employees for many businesses, and access to education without having to leave home are all some of the major supports that we provide and that our students provide to the community. We look at our access and success pillar, and we try to build upon what we see right now and look out into the future for where we will be. Taking a look at where we are right now within the context of what our student population and potential populations we can have and see coming up in the future, we can see what's happening across our entire region and all of our campuses, and where we have young people that will soon be coming online to join in the educational community, those in the 20 to 24-year-old range that are currently with us, and the 20 to 25-year-olds that are currently with us as well. There is suggested to be somewhat of a slight downturn in some areas. We can see that that is happening in Wawa more predominantly than others, and we're not sure why, but that is something that is out there right now that we have to contend with. Our full and part-time enrollment in post-secondary, regional and distance education for our fall semester. What we look at is a comparative number from year to year is what happens in the fall. And we've tracked that on a 5-year, 6-year basis. So from 2015-16 all the way through till 2020, 2021, which is what we are now into, we can see what's happening across our region. And as our numbers fluctuate, we try and adapt to that to make sure that we're meeting still the needs of those areas, but also trying to gain a foothold on the financial state of sustainability of all of those and the programming needs that are going forth. We can see right now that there's a large number of very small enrollments in some areas. We can attribute some of that to the distance education as it continues to grow. It's grown exponentially over the last couple of years, and we can see at the bottom of that page, our distance education numbers in 2015-16 were only 87 students. And what happened this year has been nothing short of a miracle with the phenomenal numbers that we have when we reached 320 students, and that's projected to continue to grow. Under institutional excellence, we've embarked on many capital projects to support our institutional excellence, including our tech hub buildings and the energy refits of all of our campus buildings. Some of them have been large in magnitude, like our biomass unit for the powerhouse, along with lighting and a lot of other window and sheathing exercises that we went through. As part of our strategic plan, there's going to be a need to address climate change through sustainability projects, and we plan to continue the work on energy refitting projects to reduce our energy footprint within our region at all of our campuses. Under community prosperity, we have over 850 full and part-time employees, and that number goes up and down. And even with COVID this year, we still had some substantial numbers, and we continue to look at those numbers going up in the following and subsequent years. One of 14 jobs are associated with the activities of Confederation College throughout our region. And we provide employment supports throughout Northwestern Employment Works, our new offices in Thunder Bay, Marathon, and Dryden, which helps those looking for employment. And we're going to be expanding those opportunities through some of the software programs we have to allow employers to start looking for and attracting and recruiting more employees that are coming out of the college. Experiential entrepreneurship courses within Northwestern Ontario Innovation Center and the RBC Futures. We had over 971 learners participating in the entrepreneurship activities since its inception. And our contract and community development training offices, our workforce development offices, continue to support training needs across the region, and we are continuing to get busier and busier and busier. Right now, we're in the midst of a lot of skills development projects that will address some of the healthcare shortages we have, our skilled trades and technology areas we have, along with the business sectors that we're looking to support. And with that, I've come to the end of the presentation, and I'd like to open it up if there happens to be any questions. Thank you. I'll stop sharing now.
Okay, Neil. Will that pick me up without a speaker? Should. Are there any questions from council? Mitch, you have a question? Go ahead.
I didn't hear you say too much about disability students.
Yeah, I didn't address it in there. I mean, that is part of our entire, we'll call it a student success portfolio office. We do look after students, and we are constantly making changes in the campus structure. So accessibility is more and more, or less and less of a barrier, I guess you could say. We have a lot of ability to make accommodations for students that come in, and we can put together plans so that we can support those students. And we run a full, I guess you could say, the full gamut of support services for persons with disabilities so that we can support them in their educational endeavors. Every case is unique depending on the issues or the concerns that we need to address, but we make our best effort to support our students at every aspect that we possibly can.
Have you ever had many students that are blind?
I haven't. I've been here a year and a half. I haven't been dealing with very many, we'll call it completely blind or legally blind students, but we have a lot of students with visual impairment issues that we support and work with.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Neil, as you know, Wawa is booming right now. The gold mines are expanding. We got a new mine opening up, and a lot of the discussions that we have when sitting down with members of our EDC is issues related to training and just finding those workers. And in a recent call with Argonaut Gold, I know they're quite ready to work with the community and certainly Confederation College where there are specific needs to provide training. Are you looking at trying to see what the needs are in this region and provide programming?
Most definitely. We are currently working through our workforce development office with a number of the people that you've mentioned already. Was very fortunate that we had the opportunity to meet with council previously and your economic development people and workforce development personnel from government. Currently, Carroll Klein, our director of workforce development, is working with those groups. And there's a consortium of the smaller mining companies that are working with her, trying to come up with a needs and give her an idea of where we can go with this. We would like to do more training in the region. Quite simply, with only 2 students registered right now, and that's all we have for the fall, it's very difficult for us to run a sustainable model with the center that we have. So we're going to have to rely on other options such as workforce development. So we are definitely open to that, and we will continue to try and be open to as many possible options for workforce development in the region as possible. It may be that some of it will be done at a distance if they require that. Others, we can come in and do project work in the area, and we're quite mobile on what we do across the region. Carol and her group with Jason and the others have been very successful working from border to border, and in some cases even out of province, delivering training programs. So we're definitely there wanting to meet the needs of the industry and the community.
Well, that's really good to hear, and I just want you to know that the community is certainly ready to work with the college in any way we can to facilitate any of those programs being set up.
Yeah, I mean, those are probably I would say the easier things for us to set up is when there are companies looking for a training such as that, or to, upskill certain individuals to get them into the workforce faster. Those are easy for us. It's harder for us to sustain campuses when we're relying on core programming and students interested in taking program that's offered through the regular college calendar. Workforce development is very nimble and agile, so they can meet those needs to keep that community, their economy vibrant and growing as they have opportunities with these businesses.
Good. Well, thank you. We certainly look forward to more success for your college and the opportunity for our local people to get additional education. So if there are no further questions, we have a full agenda. We'll move on. Well, thank you very much, Neil, for your presentation.
Did any of the others that were in attendance, did they want to have a few words, Sandra or David?
Okay. Do you have other individuals with you that are wish to speak to council, Neil?
Did Sandra arrive?
Yes, she did.
You did?
Hi.
Sandra, was there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think you covered that very well, Neil. Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities in the mining industry there to move the relationship forward. So, yeah, thank you very much, and for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. We look forward to the opportunity to meet with you folks at a breakfast meeting like we've done in the past when COVID-19 is over and we can get together like that. So thank you, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you in the near future, and looking forward to working with you in our community.
Okay.
So thanks again.
We'll carry on and try and do our best, and just spread the word in the community. I need more students, please. Thank you.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Catherine.
The markets attendance.
So we're going to go directly into the presentation.
You can invite. Oh, there's another person.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Melanie Amadeo.
Good evening, Melanie. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, Mayor Rhodey. Can you hear me?
I can. Do you have Amadeo and David on?
I certainly do.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
I think we just lost David. I think he was demoted to an attendee.
He's coming back.
Oh, perfect.
He is back.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kathy. Should we start with introductions?
Sure.
Wonderful. So for everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Melanie Pilon, and I am a lifelong resident of Wawa, but I am the economic development person for the Township of Dubreuilville. I'm also the regional broadband champion. and the chair of the Northeast Superior Regional Broadband Network. Wow, that's a mouthful. And I'm here to do a presentation. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council, for inviting us with two very fine gentlemen, Amadeo Bernardi and David Pickett, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Amadeo?
Hi, David.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor and Council, for having us here this evening. My name is David Pickett. I'm the partner with RDM Management Group, the financial advisor to the NSRBN. I joined the project just about a year ago, and I've been assisting the team with doing the financial due diligence in evaluating the NSRBN project, so the broadband investment into the 9 communities.
Thanks, David. And I'm Amadeo Bernardi. I've been part of the team for, I think we're going a little over 3 years now with Melanie. I was brought on originally as to help project manage the process. I've been now focused on the funding and working in partnership with David and Melanie in the executive committee to continue moving the project forward. I have a background in telecommunications. I was the part of Ontario Northland Transportation Commission executive, and I ran the Ontario division, the telecom company, up until the sale to Bell. And so our territory, quite familiar with the footprint. And after that, I was chief operating officer with a small incumbent in southwestern Ontario, which was municipally run and owned, which was Bruce Telecom of the municipality of Kincardine. So thank you, Mayor and Council and staff, for having us, and hope we can answer any questions you have tonight.
So we prepared a few things, and we've sent everyone in their packages. But first off, we did have a little video that we've been referring to as the NSRBN infomercial, and we would like to play it for Mayor and Council, and we do feel like it is provides a great deal of information and answers a lot of questions that all of the communities have. So Amadeo will queue it up and share the screen, and afterwards we'll kind of go through all the information with everyone and kind of take our presentation from there. So maybe we can start with that, Amadeo.
Is that viewable? Everybody sees that?
I can see it.
All right.
Good morning, good day, everyone, and welcome to the second NSRBN infomercial. So in absence of a community visit due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we will pre-record a message to help answer any questions that the communities may have. After everybody has had a chance to record the message, Amadeo, myself, and David Pickett will be doing a number of teleconference call-ins to all of your communities and hoping to answer any questions. But as we've said time and time again, all of our panelists are available at any time for questions from the community members. So we do have, I'll be acting as the moderator. Again, for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Melanie Pilon. I'm the Economic Development Officer at the Township of Duberville, and I'm the NSRBN Chair and Community Broadband Champion. So we'll jump right in, and we'll ask the first question to our project manager, Amadeo Bernardi. He's been with us the longest. So I'll just take a look at my script here, Amadeo. Amadeo, you've been with us since the beginning, the past 3 years. Can you please provide a brief overview of the project and provide us with a quick summary of the funding that the group has applied for to date? And in your experience, Do you feel that the NSRBN is well positioned to be successful to receive funding?
Oh, thanks, Melanie. Thanks for the introduction, and hello, everyone that's watching. So yeah, it's been great. It's been a great journey. We have been on this for 3 years, and it's a phenomenal project. And I know it's a model actually across Canada, given that we've been, Melanie and I and David have been in discussions with several groups throughout, talking about what we've done and what our successes have been. So the project as it stands now is 9 communities, of which all of you are the audience are watching this. So we're greatly appreciative of you being part of this. And we have applied to the CRTC Broadband Fund. We have an active application there with no word yet as to when that might come out, and we might hear something about it. We are actively applying now to the Ministry of Infrastructure in Ontario for their ICON fund. We qualified through to stage 2. So at the end of January 27th, the team will be putting in the application there. And I'd be remiss to say that the team actually, the important parts of the team certainly are the Crown team, YRE, so John, Josh, and David Pickett of RDM Management have all been assisting with this application, and really happy with it so far. Also Trispec, Lee LaRue from Trispec. So we have a lot of horsepower, and we're really, really happy with the quality of information. On the heels of applying for ICON, we will be applying for the Universal Broadband Fund for the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada. So you'll always hear it as I said. That's due February 15th. It's built on the shoulders of ICON. And again, we're very, we're looking forward to putting that in. We have I'd say a perfect model for what all the government agencies are looking for. We're multi-community. We have a great partner in Crown that is there to help us with everything from funding through to implementation and the expertise. And very importantly, we have a cross-section of communities that include a French minority, which is Dubreuilville. We have 5 First Nation communities, and we have, including Dubreuilville, 4 municipalities, all within the footprint. And that really checks off a lot of boxes on the matrix that the governments are looking at. So really excited. I think we stand a very good chance of getting some funding. Of course, no one has a crystal ball, and you can imagine how oversubscribed each of these funds will be if history has anything to do with it. But we're well aligned for a strong output. But again, we'll see. And the good news is with Crown, we have a lot of contingencies built in that this project will not fail. And I'm very happy to be part of it. So thanks again, Melanie, for sharing this. And any questions, you can always reach out to us.
Thanks a lot, Amadeo. I really appreciate the very detailed answer, and thank you very much for doing introductions of the group. That was amazing how you slid that in. So since we don't have to do introductions now, we'll go right on to Joe Moses. Joe, alongside Peggy Demang from Chapleau Cree, you've graciously represented our Indigenous communities on the NSRBN executive. And I understand that you've specifically investigated the availability of First Nations funding from Indigenous Services Canada, or as we all know it as INAC. Are you able to provide us with a short explanation of the availability of these funds?
Hi, thank you, Melody, and welcome all that are tuning in. Yes, thank you for the question. And the short answer is that through the Indigenous Services Canada, there are no specific funds dedicated specific to broadband infrastructure projects. This is reflected in the potential makeup of the NSRBN partnership with Crown Corporation in our intent to ensure equal ownership by all communities, non-native and native municipalities. As Amadeo said so eloquently, the diversity around the partners of the application is important. None of our communities would be able to go this alone unilaterally, because all of the high-level government funds we've applied to require diverse partnership bases, and that's what we feel makes a strong application. The work that we did complete in investigating what funds were available from Indigenous Services Canada they redirect us back to the CRTC fund, which is a national pool of dollars not specific to Indigenous Services Canada. So some of the public messaging out there might be a bit misleading from the government agencies, saying that they're throwing dollars towards broadband projects specific to First Nations. But that being said, the funding does not reflect that there are specific dollars specific to First Nations. There may be community-based regional opportunities that communities may be trying to go through and push through for core community infrastructure, but those are through existing funds which are already well in channels and more aligned with economic development activities such as building housing infrastructure and other things that everybody will be accustomed to. So we've, to this point, not discovered any specific funding specific to broadband initiatives, and we are being redirected back to the CRTC fund. And so via this partnership, we are applying to the CRTC. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. David Pickett, you are the NSRBN financial analyst. You've conducted a detailed financial review of the NSRBN public-private partnership that we have set up with Crown Capital. Can you reiterate your position and perhaps provide a little background on what led you to this conclusion?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mel. So over the past year, since being engaged with the NSRBN project, we've conducted an independent and comprehensive review on costing out the project to deliver services for the residents and businesses within the 9 communities. My conclusion was to recommend the partnership on the grounds that the return sought by the private partners in Crown Capital is fair, and in exchange for that capital and industry expertise, they are taking on the role as industrial and financial sponsor for the project. They're also willing to offer the NSRBN communities an equal partnership with no upfront commitment of capital. If the funding applications are successfully achieved based on some of the information we were hearing from Amadeo earlier, then not only will this project provide a social benefit of connectivity comparable to more suburban areas within Ontario, but there's a positive financial return that the communities can benefit from the project as well. So that's really what led to me delivering a fair recommendation for this.
Thanks, David. That sounds excellent. And Josh Axler, I have a few questions for you. Josh, what is the level of commitment required from each community?
Thanks, Mel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Josh Axler from Crown Capital and Community Network Partners. So as David mentioned, we're not asking for any commitments up front, but we are asking that each of the community members become anchor customers of the NSRBN network. What that means is each anchor will make a 20-year commitment to purchase broadband and voice over internet phone services at a cost of $5,000 per month. Now, with that $5,000 a month, each community will receive 500 megabyte speed, unlimited fiber internet for up to 5 community-controlled locations and voice over internet phone services. And of course, as David mentioned, you will also become owners of the network, sharing in the overall profits.
Excellent. So you're initially becoming a customer of your own business.
Exactly.
Perfect. So is there any way for a community to off-ramp should they wish to leave the NSRBN once they sign on?
That's a great question. We are asking for a commitment once the community members sign on, which is why we have taken the time to really put some thought into this partnership and network offering, and giving the community members time to really consider and understand what they're getting themselves into. Having said that, this really is a unique both opportunity for the NSRBN members as customers and owners. As customers, they're going to be receiving best-in-class speed and service at market rates that are comparable to major urban centers across Canada. And then as owners, they'll benefit from the profit sharing in the network and be ensured that any cost increase will really just be matching inflation rather than the profit needs of a third-party provider that they don't have any control of.
Okay, I have one last question for you, Josh. The profits that each community can expect to receive, can you give us a quick rundown on how they will be divided? and when communities can expect to receive them?
That's a great question, Mal. So the profits are going to be shared 50-50 between the NSRBN members and Crown's community network partners, both as the limited partners that will own the actual network assets. The 9 NSRBN members will each receive an equal share of their 50% of the profits. Profits are expected to be delivered once the operating company has built a minimum reserve of cash balances, and we expect to start making payments quarterly after the cash is available. So based on our initial modeling that we've done with David, we expect that profits will start being paid in around the second year of operations.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
So John, all of these communities are chomping at the bit to get connectivity. When's the service gonna come?
Well, chomping at the bit is one way to put it. I mean, I think we feel very passionately about the fact that the situation is quite dire at this point. These communities have been underserved for far too long. And so we really see no good reason to be conservative. We are very aggressive with our scheduling. We want to take advantage of the upcoming construction season, recognizing how short it is, and in bringing together the experienced professionals, taking a look at this plan. And of course, Amadeo and Joe alluded to the fact that this project's been underway for quite some time now, and looking at all of the data and looking at what's doable based on our experience in building in the underserved and remote and rural parts of the country, we feel that we can deliver, if not all, certainly a substantial work within this year. And so by the end of this year, we're hoping that we can deliver commercial services. That's our plan right now.
Excellent. That's really optimistic. Is there a contingency plan in the event that the timeline needs to be amended, or is there an ability to provide an interim service?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that it does seem ambitious, and it is ambitious, but it's because it needs to be ambitious. We're very, very determined to get this built and get it built quickly, but we do have a number of contingencies in both technology as well as procedural. So we're technology agnostic. We're not married to one particular type of technology. We're very experienced both with wired and wireless solutions. So we have a number of approaches, and this is a team made up of individuals that have spent, the last decade or more, solving the toughest problems in the most remote and rural regions of the country, with the most severe climates, et cetera. So I can say with confidence that, this is absolutely achievable. But I will say this too, is that there are a number of dependencies. Like I said, some are civil, some are technical, some are, within the realm of what we deal with on a daily basis. But one thing is for sure is, we need to have the commitment by, the stakeholders and the community leaders behind us in order to be successful. But it's absolutely achievable, and we're confident and capable to deliver it.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, John. And so last, but certainly not least, the CEO of Crown Capital, Chris. Chris, as Crown Capital CAO, did you want to wrap up our conversation by providing a bit of insight of why Crown is interested in partnering with the NSRBN and the benefits you see of the Crown NSRBN collaboration?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Melanie. And thank you everybody for tuning in and watching this video. Just want to express my appreciation for the work that the executive has done to make this a very investable project. Melanie and Joe Mose in particular have been outstanding to work with, and really look forward to a very, very long working relationship with your groups. We've, for those who don't know Crown, it's a alternative investment platform. We invest in lots of interesting things, from companies to power assets to telecom assets, and we see a really strong future in connecting the underserved. We've acquired Wiree, we've acquired a company called Galaxy, we've even started our partners, because we really truly believe that broadband is an essential service and something that it will get built and is important to people's lives, communities, and success of relationships and education and everything. It is really the telephone of the future, power lines of the future, things that we can't live without. It is really a real tremendous privilege to be able to work with your groups to be a partner in these projects rather than strictly a financier. We see the opportunity of having a very long-term asset here that can produce reasonably good returns. But as Melanie points out, that this is something that has been in the works. It's core to your communities, and one that we're just happy part of. Our view is it takes more than money. It needs the execution operation to do it, and that's really what we're trying to develop here with this transaction. Is we're going to underwrite the financial exposure. If the grants don't come, as Amadeo mentions, there is a fair bit of competition for that money. We do expect this project will get some. We don't know how much. I don't think we can see us waiting until that's clear. That we could be waiting for years if that's the case. So we will underwrite that investment, and if it comes, great, we can just reduce the amount of investment required. But in addition to the money, we have the operational expertise to make this happen. John, as you mentioned, has a decade of experience, and with the Galaxy Group, we have also more decades of experience of servicing extremely remote locations. It makes Wawa look like Manhattan in terms of what we need to do there. But really, in closing summary, really appreciate the opportunity to be your partner, and as always available to talk to our partners about our philosophy and whatever questions or concerns they might have. But thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So a big thank you to everyone who participated in our second NSRBN infomercial. So it's our hope that this video will be able to provide a bit of clarity in the absence of an actual in-person visit to your community. Anyone who knows me knows that I love a road trip, so I do miss coming out to your communities. The NSRBN is looking to have the incorporation and anchor commitments from the communities received no later than the end of February 2021. So as John mentioned, this date is extremely important if we're looking to have shovels in the ground and the build started and then completed, right? Adhering to this timeline is critical. So approvals, final network design approvals, and the procurement and pre-sales activity is needed. We need to begin in order to meet our final targets. So as we enter into the final stages of our formalization of the NSRBN entity, we request that each community declare how it intends to proceed by providing a council resolution. So should your community not wish to proceed, which is fine, the time to off-ramp from the NSRBN is now. So please make your intentions known to us. So you can certainly contact me. With that said, your urgency and attention is appreciated. Thank you very much. Miigwech, merci beaucoup, and thank you.
Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, everyone.
Good morning, Melanie here again. Thanks to all our friends and neighbors who took the opportunity to share their stories. Enjoy!
Our internet does not support 2 devices at the same time.
With our bad internet services, it makes it hard for me to complete my schoolwork.
We need faster and more reliable internet for our First Nation.
Hi, my name is Lauren Mitchell, and I'm both a teacher and a parent. I am teaching from home, and my son is supposed to be learning from home and conducting his schooling. As I have to be teaching my students, our internet does not support 2 devices at the same time, so he is unable to complete his own schooling.
During the COVID pandemic, I have had to do online schoolwork, and with our bad internet services, it makes it hard for me to complete my schoolwork.
We can't learn virtually with slow internet.
Internet capabilities in Northern Ontario are very limiting and affecting both of our education and jobs. It's unfortunate.
Our education depends on it.
It's crucially important for us to have accessible and affordable internet services.
Because of the bad internet on the reserve, it has made it difficult to use social media.
As a business owner, it's crucially important for us to have accessible and affordable internet services. One of the reasons why I moved our office to Sault Ste. Marie is to be able to have our meetings without being cut off, and also to be able to do my work at an efficient rate. It'd be a true asset for Dubreuilville to be able to get the high-speed internet at an affordable price.
Hi, I'm Mike Carroll. I'm a family physician in Wawa.
Hello, my name is Christelle and I live in Dubreuilville. I work from home as a nurse coordinator for a patient supports program.
The internet is pretty slow for us, even here in our office.
The slow internet interrupts my work. It can be very challenging when I need to send medication to some hospital very quickly.
The poor quality internet connection in our area limits the Wawa Family Health Team from providing essential video appointments to our patients in surrounding communities.
It can be very slow for patients.
For patient in urgent situation, as I need internet to work on my computer, but also for my business phone as well.
Extremely slow in the towns of Dubreuilville and White River, Missinabie. So we would all benefit for high-speed broadband at a reasonable price.
Including but not limited to Dubreuilville, White River, Missinabie, Hawk Junction, and Mishpicotton First Nations.
Please help me get connected.
Please help.
Thank you to everyone for taking the time to watch our second NSRBN infomercial. We hope that it really provided a lot of background for our project. As I mentioned in the video, we are looking for a commitment from Wawa Council to whether or not they would like to stay in the project by February 28th, the end of the month. And our next NSRBN meeting is February 18th. And we do have a full agenda that will be going out tomorrow for those who would like to participate. Of course, mayor and council are always encouraged to attend. But with that said, we would like to pass it over now to David Pickett to go over our frequently asked questions sheet that was also in Mayor and Council's package.
Thanks, Mel. Can everybody see the frequently asked questions?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. So we did survey our stakeholders across the community, and we did get a list of questions. I've got 4 pages of questions here. So we can start off at the top with, I think, the most common one, which was what level of community commitment is required to be part of the NSRBN project. So let's recall from the infomercial that there's no expected upfront investment required by each community, but the ask from the financial partner is that each community partner become a customer of the network in exchange for their ownership interest that they would be getting. And so the master service agreement that's being asked is a 20-year master service agreement for both high-speed internet, so it'll be best in class fiber, 500 megabits, unlimited internet. So that'll be a symmetrical download and upload, and so a dedicated capacity as well, along with voice over IP services, which could be provided for up to 5 community-controlled locations within each community boundary. Another thing to note is that they have asked that be adjusted with inflation, just to match any inflationary costs that would be involved with the project as well. So when will services be rolled out? So we do know that the financial partner is eager to basically start to invest and get construction crews scheduled to construct, so that network and services will be available within 2021. While we are doing the roadshow per se, the virtual roadshow to go out and meet the community stakeholders and answer questions and inform them more about the project, there have been members of the team working on designs, doing government funding applications, but doing a lot of kind of the pre-construction activities that would need to be involved in getting us one step closer to planning and implementing the construction of the network. So we're right now in kind of the pre-sales activity phase, and so there's been some outreach from some of the members to businesses within the community, as well as with the community stakeholders to keep them informed and get them to become partners with the NSRBN. And the projected build phase is scheduled between May and November. As John mentioned on the infomercial, it is ambitious, but once November comes around, you really can't build beyond that. And so, making sure that you've got the crews ready to go and the plan, and taking that extra step at the planning phase, that they're confident that they can get that constructed and ready to go before the end of the year. So they do note that the timeline is highly dependent on a number of key variables. So, we are still in the phase of getting the agreements and the legal relationship established between the NSRBN members, as well as the NSRBN and the financial partner. And these are just a couple of the items that they listed as well that would need to be addressed so that that schedule can be met and attained to. So access to roadside utility poles, ordering and securing transport circuits. I've already seen quotes on that, and so they've already reached out to Shaw and Bell to get access to capacity for backhauling the local network that we would be constructing to an internet exchange point. Getting permit submissions with Ministry of Transport and Railways for roadway access and crossing. So getting the permits completed so that the more complex aspects of the build can be carefully thought out and planned, so that if there are any surprises, they've been tried to. There's been some foresight in trying to address that and build that into the construction schedule, as well as final constructor agreements and material procurement. Right now, as you can imagine, fiber and internet connectivity is important, with everyone having to social distance, and in some communities, lockdown is still very much a reality. So there have been kind of global lead times on trying to procure some of these materials, and getting ahead of that and making sure you've got access to and leveraging your supplier relationships to get access to that material, I think, is extremely important. Are interim service options available before the full network is built? So community network partners can provide an interim satellite solution. So they did mention that they have acquired a Galaxy Broadband, who is a satellite internet provider. So for communities that don't have access to fiber, which it does not apply to Wawa, but some of the other members don't have the same kind of infrastructure available to them, then there is being an option that's there's an option that's being provided to help provide them a short-term solution until we can get the fiber out to them as part of the build plan. We were asked, when is the last date that the communities can exit the NSRBN without penalty? So communities will be committed upon closing of the limited partnership, which is expected in February 2021. Communities that have committed by this date will be part of the current project, including government funding applications and subsequent network construction. So communities that decide to commit at a future date will be considered for membership at the time, with the provisos that the terms may differ from those of the founding members, and their community network rollout will be delayed accordingly. What are the anticipated service packages available, and what cost to consumers and businesses? So we Initially, we did submit a broadband funding application with the regulatory body, the CRTC. The application did require that service packages must be comparable to major markets across the country. So the prices that you're going to see in these boxes here for the residential and business commercial offerings, these are all comparable to what's being offered in major urban centers across the country. So, you know, a person that has internet service in Toronto has these prices available to them, and we were pricing our model and our business case with that same model in place to and the business case still worked. So the we do require the community to buy in and support the project, but you know, these are all very competitive prices, and I'm sure they compete very well with what is available locally in your respective markets. What technical support and repair options will be available are SLAs to be expected. So best-in-class support services will be provided for both consumer and enterprise customers. So where enterprise services are bought, where, you know, that would be similar to what the communities are expected to commit to, where you're buying that dedicated internet access with like a symmetrical connection, that would be backed with a service level agreement and the best-in-class support services, minimum downtime, quick response with a technician who can respond to fix any fiber cuts. All of those are included with those enterprise level service packages, with more of the consumer and like lower end business and commercial packages, where you see, for example, the 5010. Those would be service level objective. So, you know, you still get really high quality support, but it's not as, it will be a little bit less responsive. Still, you know, mean time to repair 8 hours or less. So if there is an issue, you can bet that as soon as it's reported, the troubleshooting and ticket team will ensure that you know, the proper procedures are followed, and a technician and splicing crew is dispatched to repair that within 8 hours or less. So how often will the network and its components be reviewed for oversubscription and poor performance? So the network will be continuously monitored by a network management system and a staffed network operations center. This NMS will be instrumented to alert support personnel based on established performance and capacity thresholds, and generate reporting to inform capacity planning functions. It's anticipated that capacity growth and network trending levels will be continuously monitored with quarterly minimums during the initial year of a market launch to assess downstream capacities. Afterwards, capacity planning will be an essential component of annual CapEx and OpEx budgeting as per normal course of business. So the capacity growth and network trending levels will be continuously monitored. That's all part of the best-in-class support that will be provided with the network. The part of the partnership does require that annual capital and operating budgets are put through board approval and governance. And so part of that will require the operations partner. So whether that's WireIE or community network partners, to produce that CapEx and OpEx budget for board approval. And that will involve assessing the capacity planning and looking at where the growth opportunities are, where capacity is being met, and what additional equipment and or fiber needs to be invested in to expand that. So how often will upgrades be scheduled? As part of the operating budgeting process, each network element will have a predetermined depreciation and replacement rate applied to it according to standard networking guidelines. So that is accurate. Fiber optics are rated to have a lifespan between 25 and 40 years, depending on the climate and environment. And then electronic components may vary between 3 and 5 years. So the project is going to be split predominantly between these two assets, but we'll still have quite a bit of fiber, which is nice. So these are kind of, it is the future proof infrastructure to have in place for high-speed internet. And the operating company will build a reserve by holding back 15% of annual operating profits beginning in year 3. This reserve will be used to cover the investment required for network upgrades. An amount will be budgeted each year for break, fix, support, and maintenance. Aside from that reserve, that's also been budgeted for in our modeling. And then capacity planning and sustainment budgets will be informed by performance and capacity management functions accordingly. So this will be done on an ad hoc basis once we can see what the uptake is. And typically if you're running into capacity issues, it's because you're selling a lot on the network, which should correlate with higher profitability and therefore more reinvestment into the business and operations. Finance. So the profits shared to the NSRBN member communities will be equally divided. What is the frequency of the profit sharing and remittance? So profits will be distributed quarterly once operations are stabilized. So that will be where there is profits that are in excess of that reserve that I had mentioned earlier, and profits after all debt service and other kind of large fixed costs have been paid. So we are forecasted, and Josh mentioned by year 2, in a base case scenario, we had that as an option. I think with sensitivity, year 2, year 3, there's a possibility. That is all again contingent on the communities getting behind the project and the project partners and the operator doing their job and getting residents, businesses, and the broader community to support and become customers. So are there any conditions on how those funds are to be used, or are they at the discretion of each community's leadership's disposal? So once the funds are distributed to each NSRBN member, there are no conditions and the funds may be used at the discretion of each community's leadership. So this is describing once the operating company generates that profit and then it gets a dividend or distribution is paid, that would go to the NSRBN as well as going to the financial partner for the 50-50 share that each would have. And then within the NSRBN, the 9 communities would basically get an equal division of that 50%. And once they receive the distribution of the dividend, then it is at their discretion to do with the funds what they would like. So if there are other community projects and initiatives that are requiring funding, and those funds could be earmarked to invest in those projects. White labeling. Will the network be accessible to third-party vendors supporting a monopsony, multiple sellers per buyer? So the network will be open access. This was actually contingent on the funding that we applied for. So the project, we're looking at between a $7 and $8 million total capital cost to build the project, but we have applied for just under $3 million in government funding with CRTC and with ICON. We are in the process of applying to the Universal Broadband Fund, another federal entity that was mentioned by Amadeo on the video. So we do anticipate requesting another six-figure, or sorry, I would say probably seven-figure amount. We still need to kind of work those details out, but there's, we've, based on just the money that has been requested, that represents roughly 35% of the total project costs. So part of the deal with asking, and if you successfully receive that money, is that the infrastructure that you construct needs to be open access, and